Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. A new FBI report shows that hate crimes increased in Michigan last year. The number also rose nationally, with many of the incidents taking place after the November election in 2016. Michigan saw a 29% jump in hate crimes reported to police. That's much higher than the national increase of 4.6%. Of the 399 hate crimes reported in Michigan, 282 were motivated by race, ethnicity, or ancestry. And nationally, African Americans made up the largest group of victims of racial hate crimes. Joining me now to talk more about this disturbing data is the director of the Michigan Department of Civil Rights, Agustin Arbulu. Welcome back to American Black Journal. Yes, it's always good to have you here, even though we're talking about something today that's not a great, encouraging subject. I think we had a conversation after the election last year.
I remember. That
predicted that this was going to be the trend we were going to see in 2017. I don't think I was thinking at the time that the numbers would be as bad as they are.
Well, a few things that we see. Yes, the numbers are not encouraging. Two, it is an opportunity to address it. We looked at this from 2014 to 2016. We just didn't look back 1 year. We went back 2 years. What we do see is that when we compare 2014 to 2016, the numbers are up.
They're back.
And that is disappointing. What we do have, however, is the opportunity to work aggressively to address it. We have to work in a proactive way to combat this. I think we can do this much more effectively at the state level than we can expect at the national level.
That's interesting. And so what do you do? I mean, obviously you deal with any report gets some sort of reaction or response or consequence. But I guess the bigger question is, how do you create the kind of environment where people, even if they're inclined to do this kind of thing, choose not to?
Well, I think you have to start, I believe, in the schools. I think that's where you have to really focus. What was interesting in the report is when you look at 2015 and you compare it to 2016, is we had a 50% increase of bias incidents in school and college setting. It went from 8.5% of the total incidents to 12.5%.
Wow.
So that was a significant increase, and that was something that the Department of Civil Rights, following the elections last year, we were monitoring. We monitored 90 such incidents across Michigan, and we found that literally 50% plus came from the school setting. That tells us that we need to do a better job in teaching, in creating safe zones where there is honest discussion. I just had an opportunity yesterday to be interviewed by a middle school in Plymouth, Michigan. And I was surprised to hear that when I asked the interviewer, an 8th grader, how does her family take to being inclusive? And the answer is not very well. So we have to do a better job. And we have to create these partnerships between parents and schools and teachers. I think it's hard to talk about racism, to talk about hate and bias in a school setting. But we have to do that. And we have to, because our minds are built up to try to be efficient. And these things have been taught early on. And if it can be taught early on, we can teach them differently.
It can be taught a different way. Talk about the Michigan numbers and how out of step they are with the national numbers.
Well, I think you're probably referring to the fact that they have the report is 4th highest, given that we're only the 10th most populated state in the country. But there are concerns with that report. The data gathering is not consistent around the country.
Across states, okay.
So what you really need to look at are the trends in Michigan over a number of years, as opposed to comparing ourselves to outside of Michigan. I think that's important, and it's that to me really
That sort of
requires us.
internal state.
Yes,
trend
we
is
got to
the one
look
that we wanna
at
think about.
what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do to address this issue? And we're doing a lot of things through our ALPACs, which are these community-based organizations and law enforcement coming together, talking about these difficult issues.
Yeah.
How do we prevent this so we get ahead of it, and we can also make it a teachable moment?
Yeah, yeah. I want to get you to talk some about the effect that the president, and I don't mean the president as a person, but the president as a cultural force is having on this. This is somebody whose language, whose actions all sort of point toward a more combative set of interactions. I mean, that's who he is. I can't imagine that that's not related to the fact that other people are now saying, well, I'm going to behave that way as well.
It's disappointing that that's taking place. Deeply disappointing to hear that from the person who represents us, who sits at the highest office in the country. And no doubt that creates impressions, that gives liberty to segments, groups at the ground level in our communities to be able to speak up and saying, well, if the president can speak in this way, I can also act in this way.
Right.
So we have to be cognizant of that. But ultimately, we're responsible for our own actions. So we've got to take that and be aggressive about it. Yes, we saw a spike following the elections. And do we attribute that in part to the politics at the national level? In part, sure, it has an impact. Because when you start name calling, when you start focusing on certain groups or certain religious and connoting certain activity with them, then it gives permission to others.
It's almost like he's highlighting them.
Exactly. And we have to avoid that. We have to avoid it. No doubt that we are concerned with the fact that 70% of these hate crimes tend to be race-related.
Right.
And that continues. And the African American community tends to be the victim, the focus.
Right.
And that still continues. So we have to create some dialogue. So I'm very happy to see that we have not had that outcry in Michigan. We have hate incidents, it's being reported, but what we don't have is what's being done about it.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much for being here, and good luck
You're welcome.
dealing with this pretty difficult problem.
Thank you.